Today we're going to talk about something that is always coming up. It's what's the difference between these two solo albums and these two solo albums. Traditionally, usually, people believe that these are not as good as these. Is it because we expected something different? Or is it because these two guys understood the assignment? We're going to talk about that today on Podcast Rock City Live. What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and with me this week, Sonny Hollywood Pooty.
What's up, peeps? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Right down there is the man, the myth, the legend, Joey Casada.
Were you just about to call me a lesbian?
Yes.
What are you doing,
Keeping
Joe?
it real. Keeping it real.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Technically. And right down there is the lovely and talented herself, Goddess of Thunder, Lee. Hi, Lee.
Hello.
Okay, so
Hello.
listen today. Exactly. Everybody's doing well. Everybody's hanging in there. Good.
Except
yes,
you.
as
Except
you
you,
can see, I got crutches back here. I took an old man step. And I don't know what I've done, but it's in the knee, and hopefully I'll be fine. I can tell you that it feels better than it did yesterday, but it still sucks. That being said,
I'd love to see Karen recreate the movie Misery with you. Just put you in bed and hobble you and keep you just hobbled.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Karen is too nice for that. She baked me cookies today, keto cookies, because I'm on a diet, just so everybody knows. I'm down 17 pounds.
Whoa, really? How do you feel from those cookies, Joe?
They're deliciously bland.
Yeah,
I feel
that's exactly what that is.
I'm fine. She's fine. She cooked dinner for me. She made me a sandwich for lunch. She took care of me. She's amazing. Okay, so listen, before we get started, first of all, I'm so glad to see everybody here again, and everybody that's watching. Man, I love you guys for being here. All you guys that are written in green on the thing, you guys are all part of our members only club, and you can join that if you go into our the description of the show. Right above that, there's a thing that says join. If you just click that, you can join. It's 99 cents, and you have a chance to win prizes every month and hang out with us for an extra show every week right after we do this one. Today, at some point, I am going to be giving away a box of the Demon cereal from Funko's and the autographed Dale Torborg Demon picture, which is pretty cool.
Joe, quick shout out to Dale. He just lost his dad
Oh my goodness, I did not know that.
Quick shout out to Dale. What a great guy.
We
Great
love you,
family.
Dale.
Yep, send in all of our love and prayers and stuff to the family.
Yes, absolutely. His father was a pro baseball player as well as Dale, and yeah, that's a shame. It's too bad. If you guys see anything about it and you want to send him some love, do so. There is some news we could talk about, so let's go ahead and get to the news.
Podcast Rock City News.
I want to point out to everybody that's watching this not live that we do this live every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Usually there's 4 of us here. Sometimes Joey's busy, sometimes Lee's busy, but there's always a combination of us here. We have a great time being here, and the coolest part of the show, besides me, is the fact that all you guys get a chance to watch and comment on what we're doing and saying live while we say it. And that's what makes us, Joey,
the number one KISS podcast in the history of the universe, voted by you, the fans. The polls are out there. They've been published. They're all over the internet. They're in rock magazines. They're across the sky. They're everywhere. We are voted number one, baby.
Absolutely.
No arguing that point.
There was literally one person voting, but it counted.
On the one magazine that's left out there.
You're number one.
Anyway, it's live. It's 100% live. We do it all like on the fly, and it's a lot of fun, man. And we love doing it, and we love the fact that you guys are all able to do this. AJ, Ken, Undertaker, Robert, R. Lindy, John, Mr. Make Believe, Rex, Matt, G. John Clark. It's so good. Cindy, hi. Ken Keenan, good to see you. I mean, there's so many of you guys here hanging out with us and already putting your 2 cents in, and this is awesome. Yes, Chuck, thank you. I've lost 17 pounds.
Nice,
but
Joe.
The show is not about me. I'm going to fly to Las Vegas next month, and I want to fit in my chair.
Oh, nice. What's your goal to lose anyway?
Half a person.
Half a person.
No, if I could lose 50 pounds, I think I'd be great, man. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so let's. I know we got to the news. Let's. There's a couple of things. One, I noticed that Gene Simmons added a bunch of tour dates. Did you guys see that?
I did. Yeah. He's
yeah.
His calendar's starting to fill up for the year.
Yeah,
exciting.
And I had it here, and all of a sudden it's gone. All right, here it is. Anaheim. So starting in April, Anaheim, I'm going to say this wrong, and Sonny's going to laugh at me. Temecula? Thank you. Temecula. Rohnert Park, Auburn, Magna, UT, Denver, Colorado, Clearwater, Florida. Everywhere but Georgia. He doesn't come here.
Us.
I'm going to the Kentucky show.
Oh, yeah, that's right, in Kentucky. And there is an Orlando show, April the 30th.
There's a Jersey one, too. I'll probably be heading to if I'm in town.
Sounds awesome. So that's, if you guys are going to be going to any of those shows, let us know right here in the comments. I'd love to know. Let's see. Sonny, what did you have? Something happened last night in the... there was an online Kiss online auction. Eric Singer, were you able to figure out who said what?
Yeah, I don't know who said what. Somebody said my mic is twice as loud as everybody else. That's Joe's fault.
I don't hear it. It sounds normal to me.
So it was on the Kiss Army Pavia Facebook page. Came out about 8 hours ago. And it says, during the official Eric Singer auction on Kiss Live Auctions tonight, there was some news on upcoming Kiss releases and projects. There'll be 2 box sets released this year. New off the soundboard releases will come out this year and will focus on various eras of the band's career. Kiss Online will officially relaunch around March with an all-new look, and Pop House have various new merch drops planned. Dress to Kill and Alive turned 50 this year, so expect new merch drops. and then a new Kiss documentary on Kiss End of the Road, which has an emphasis on the last 2 Kiss shows at Madison Square Garden, is currently in production. It's going to be a hot 2025. I could tell you this much, except for the Dress to Kill 50 thing, nothing about this is hot, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, really? I disagree.
Yeah, I don't care. A documentary about the last 2 shows at Madison Square Garden, a bunch of love fest people about people we don't give a shit about. And
no,
those
I
two
don't know. I mean, I have to
talking
see
to
it.
family?
I have to see it. I have to see
Come
it. I don't know if it's going to be that way, but I want to see it first because this isn't going to be the same people making this. This is a completely different group of people, and not only that. I'm interested in the Alive thing. I'm wondering what we'll get in there. I mean, obviously we know the stories that it was not one night, right? It was a bunch of nights recorded. And
my God, what if you get the original recordings untouched?
Okay, all of a sudden that would make it hot. I'm just saying.
No way.
And I gotta tell you, I think this is a big test. Like all this next wave coming out, I think this is really Pop House doing right now. This is their chance to do stuff. So I'm so curious to see of the quality and how deep they go. Is it just like Sonny said? Is it just going to be a repackaging of Alive with some goofy extras, or are we going to get stuff like that? Are we going to get one of the nights uncut? Because it's a lot of the stuff is out there anyway. Why not officially release it? I think stuff like that will tell us where Pop House is going to go in the future. Are they going to go really deep for the Kiss fans, or are they going to go more that Spencer's route?
Yeah, I do know that I believe that there is lots of backstage footage and stuff like that. We've seen the stuff where they're walking to the stage, and then we've seen the video where like they're getting like gold albums on stage, or maybe it was platinum. I can't remember. Gold, I think at the time. I'm not sure what year they started certifying stuff platinum, but I know they were getting like gold albums, and there's tons of pictures from the back. A story would be good too, like telling, like a book or something explaining what really was going on in like a coin. They made a movie, but did we really get the real story of what was going on back then? Or was it, doctored? I can tell you this, the movie didn't paint anybody in it as like in a good way, except for maybe Donna Summer. Everybody else was painted as greedy and crazy. And
no,
are you new here? That's the music business.
No, I understand, but it
They
didn't
are
paint
greedy and
anybody
crazy.
as right. It didn't paint anybody as like the saviors of, this is what happened and we were great, So I'm interested in all this stuff. I think it'll be interesting and hopefully a lot of fun. The positive thing is, and this is the thing, we Rex Smetzer says, Joe, I get it will be way better now that Pop House is involved. I'm hoping it's what us diehard Kiss fans are hoping for. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, we're all hoping.
I have no idea, but Sonny is here. You should start wearing a mask, like as a wrestler, so you could be the heel on the show. Hey, listen, while that comment right there is up, who's that supposed to be?
Oh my God! Look at this picture. I just noticed it. That is incredible. Who the hell made this picture?
Is that?
Of course, it's God.
It's Brandvold.
I gotta take a screenshot of that and send it to Brandvold. That's pretty epic.
I'm sure he's seen it.
Sure.
Anyway, hey, listen.
Who's
it could be Brandvold.
Minnetonka, can you please make one of Sonny like that for me?
That would be amazing. Anyway, so I'm really excited about it. I think that just the fact that we have stuff to look forward to, the live, off the soundboards. Did you say they're going to have a new look?
I think the website's just going to have a new look. I think what they're trying to say about the soundboards is that it just won't be from one era. Which I don't think anybody wants it from one era. But guys, these guys got to make money. they can't make it so
Sure.
homerish that only the homers buy it. Come on.
Homerish.
Well, that last one was pretty homerish. There was the Mark St. John release.
That was homerish. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
That was.
I wonder what the sales are like of all of them. I wonder. I mean, who knows if there are any sales? You know what I mean? Are there?
Yeah.
Does anyone own a physical copy of any of those?
I have.
Of course,
I
Joe
have,
does.
Joe does.
I have Tokyo physically, and I think the rest I bought online because I couldn't find them.
Meaning
and
what, Joe? Like the digital download?
iTunes, yeah, iTunes.
That's what
yeah.
I mean. I wonder. I mean, listen, I hate to say it. How much money is really to be made with any of this stuff? I just think it's cool product to keep releasing, keep the brand alive. To me, product like that keeps the brand alive, which sells T-shirts, which sells other merch. I don't think they're making money on those off the soundboards. You know what I mean? I just don't see it.
I'm not sure. I don't know how they're made, but like one thing is for sure, a lot of these things are selling out. You go online and they you know, it says
but you don't know
out.
They only made 10.
But you don't know if they sold out to the auction dudes.
No,
like
that's
you don't know if somebody came and bought 100 of them.
No, that's
even if
true.
they make 25,000 of them, whatever they're printing, even if they sell out, what I'm saying is there's not a lot of money to be made. I don't think. Yeah, they're going to make a little bit of money because I think the cost to make those is nothing. There's no cover. There's no artwork. There's, the recordings are done already. They're probably giving them to Joe Schmo to master them for $500, and there's all the profit. But I just think at the end of the day, how many people are buying that physical product anymore? I do think what they should do for those off the soundboards, if they made them a little bit more special, some kind of tour booklet or something from that night from the tour, or I think then people would go out and buy that physical product. Put another $2 into the product per item, and then I think you're going to get that return back. I think they did the bare minimum those first few runs.
And that was before Pop House too, though, right? That was that was before Pop House.
But I think the issue is that any audio that comes out, like the Mark St. John, which I was super into hearing, I listened to it one time.
Yeah.
Right? If something visual comes out, I might watch it 3 or 4 times. That's it. There's so much other shit available. You're not just going to hang on to this one thing and just watch that. It's not like when we were 10 and couldn't afford the next thing that was coming out, so we're going to listen to this over and over and over.
That's why I hate to keep beating the same dead horse, but it's why I've said that streaming type service is the way to go, because now we're all locked in. I mean, look, we have people buying monthly services. If we have them, anyone can have them. I mean, if you're tuning in to see an idiot like Sonny Pooney every week, I mean, people are going to buy KISS streaming services where if you have a streaming service, people are spending $6 a month. It's a constant revenue stream. And then you can release this little stuff like off the soundboard. Even the off the soundboard stuff, you don't need the visual backing. You put it on the screen, you put a cool background over it, and then people stream it. They listen to it. So it's a hub for all of this stuff if they could just get it out.
So let me ask you guys a question, because obviously we don't know what kind of stuff will be released. But let's just you know what, and and this could be a good segue into what we're doing in our members only show afterwards, which is basically going to be us talking about some dream KISS projects that we would like. But like, let's say for Sonny, for you, here's something that I don't think has ever been released. It's so hard to find, but let's say Off the Soundboard comes out of the Asylum tour. You're interested in that because you love that era. That's your favorite era. You get the Off the Soundboard comes, you only listen to that once, or you're like, that's the direction you would like them to go?
I probably still only listen to it once or twice. It's got to sound good, and I'll just roll it on Spotify. So that's the other thing, is that if you want to make it special and you want to make it ungettable, then you got to stop putting it on Apple and Spotify then.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Because the
the other
minute you
thing.
put it on mass media, it's done. You're not going to sell any.
Right. So, and let's be honest here. If I'm a musician and I put out a record, let's go to Joey for this, because if somebody walks up and buys your CD, it's important to you that they open it and listen to it, right?
Of course, but again, you're talking about a media that's gone. No, people are not buying CDs. I believe the way the music business is run now, music is to sell other things. Music is not sellable anymore. Once you have streaming services and you have all this stuff, music is now to sell your brand and other products from that band and that music. So if you have a new album that comes out, let's just say the new Ace, we'll put the new Ace Frehley album is perfect example. Ace, nobody's just buying the CD to have the CD because you're just streaming it, you whatever. But, and people may complain about this, but this is how you make money. You print 12 different color vinyls because they're collectible. You print a different gatefold, molecular cover, whatever the hell the covers are, all this different special product. And then you come see them play live. You buy T-shirts, you buy other product. No one's buying just a plain regular CD or a plain regular album anymore. That's meaning when I say nobody, I mean the masses, right? To make enough money back. It's not worth it. So you got to make things special. The Creatures box set was super special. Like I listen to the Creatures box set all the time because there's so much extra stuff on it. But I've never spent $1 on it. I stream it. I didn't need the physical product. I didn't need anything that came in that thing, especially for $1,000, which is, just bending us over. It's insane. So, but that product is great because I can stream it. If I wasn't able to stream it, you know what? I would have bought it. Not $1,000, but I would have spent $99 on just the CDs or the streaming, the digital download.
Interesting.
Because every artist that has tried to stay away from Spotify and Apple, any major artist, has succumbed to it after time.
Yeah.
They've tried. The Beatles held out. AC/DC held out. Swiftie held out. Like all these guys were like, I'm not going. And then you know what? All of a sudden it's like, all right, well, I guess I got to do this because everybody's pushing me into it. But even the people that are listening to us live right now, and you can just comment on the screen, tell me if you've heard the classic 78 stuff, because it's not on mass media.
Right.
So unless you bought it, you probably haven't heard it. So have you heard all the classic 78 stuff? Just answer on the side there.
Which is some of the best stuff that's been released in the last 20 years. If you haven't heard classic 78, obviously we just lost Tom, which was tragic, but who was the mastermind behind all of that stuff. But classic 78 is a band that does Kiss-like songs if they were, from 77, 78. So they're just an incredible band. But like Sonny said, because they're not streaming, did you go out and buy it? Where did you find it? Did you get it from a friend? That's the problem. So in my brain, because I'm a musician, I'm still putting out original music with my bands. I'm still recording for other people. The way I look at music right now, and maybe it's the wrong way to look at it, but this is the way I've come to deal with this stuff. I almost find music as like a commercial. Think of a McDonald's commercial. They're spending all that money on that commercial for you to watch that commercial, to absorb that commercial, and to go buy McDonald's, right? I think of streaming the same way. I put out a brand new product. I stream it. You're listening to it. Hopefully I'm hooking you. Now you'll come and maybe you'll see my band live. You'll buy a T-shirt. You'll buy one of my books. You'll know about me and what I do. It's a commercial for what you do.
Let me ask you this, because somebody posted on here that physical media is dead, and I want to ask this question. When you hear, Sonny, could you do me a favor? I know you're really good at this. Can you look up and see how many copies of Taylor Swift's last albums, how many it sold?
All right.
So this is something that I'm curious about. When he gives us that number, I want to know, do they put in there the is it just people going into Target and buying it, or
No.
is that people buying the record on iTunes or Amazon as well?
There's a formula. If you download the full album, that counts as a sale. If you buy any 10 songs at any time, it counts as a sale. If you stream, I think it's the YouTube, the whole album, that counts as a sale. It's something. There's a pretty big formula.
I mean, that's, my thing is if you stream something, I don't think it should count. It's not the same as having to dig into your own pocket and if you're paying $10 a month for a streaming service and then you listen to a record, that to me that doesn't count as a sale. I mean to me that counts as somebody you got something for less than a penny. Depending, Sonny listens to 43,000 songs a month.
I forget exactly what the number is, but it's X amount of streams equals one sale.
Yeah. So her last album was the Tortured Poets Department, which is her 11th studio album. It released less than a year ago. So 10 months, 6 times platinum.
6 times platinum? How many is that?
6 million.
6 million copies.
It sold 6 million physical, Sonny?
It sold 6 million total and that's with
iTunes but that's great. I mean, obviously but again, you're talking about the biggest artists in the world.
Yeah.
You're not talking about even legacy bands that, we're all talking about, Kiss and, Motley Crue and Bon Jovi, all these bands. They're not making money off of their new music. They're doing it to keep the legacy alive. They're doing it, even Kiss with the new releases and stuff. They're doing it just to keep product in people's faces.
The only reason I even buy Stryper albums, well, 2 reasons. One is I want to support a band that I love that's still going on. Their album art goes in a frame and on the wall every time. Dude, that album art is amazing.
Yeah, it's usually really beautiful. Okay, so but we've talked enough about that. That's really awesome. We're really going to get somewhere, I think, this year with the Kiss stuff. And time will tell, that's for sure. Joey, you have some news, a couple of different things. One, I saw that you're finishing up your book. You have a new book coming out?
I do. I can't tell you exactly what it is yet, just because I'm holding it back, but it's definitely very Kiss related. It probably digs deep into Kiss nerddom. So if you're, I mean, it's something that I've wanted forever and I never got. So I just decided to do it. It's not Kiss per se, but it's Kiss inspired. So I'll be giving you little teasers throughout the next few weeks. I'm almost done with the first draft of the book, which means I got to go back and just edit it and clean it up and make sure storyline and all that stuff is working. And then the cover is almost done, stuff like that. So I'm looking, it's February 2nd today. I'm hoping to do a mid-March release. But it's a fun project. I think if you love something the way I love it, you're going to absolutely love this project. Certain people are going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you for doing it? So I think it's going to be really fun. I think people are going to really enjoy it. If you love the thing that I love as much as I do, you're going to have a great time with this.
Why does this feel like drum tabulature?
No.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, if you
It has nothing to do with drums or anything. It's nothing like that.
Hey, a novel?
It might be even nerdier than that, Sonny.
One other thing. Joey, I Still Love You came out this week.
Yep. So Handsome Devils, again, we're releasing one song from the Creatures of the Night show every week. We're up to I Still Love You. One of my favorite songs, one of my favorite songs to play live. It's just so much fun, so powerful. Those guys knock it out of the park. Todd Kearns kills it. Luis does one of the greatest guitar solos I've ever heard. If you listen back to it, it's a little mixture of what the album is and a little bit of Bruce's solo combined. It just has so much feeling to it. Check it out. It's on my YouTube page. It's on my socials, but it's also on the Kiss Cancer Goodbye YouTube page. Check it out. Handsome Devils, I Still Love You.
Before we go, I thought about this. I think the real test here is Lee. So I'm going to ask her, Lee, do you own any of the Off the Soundboard stuff?
I own a few that came out like a long time ago.
The early ones.
Yeah, I haven't bought any lately.
I think we talked
I
about
just listen to stuff
Donington, right?
Yeah, I think I have that
And
one.
the bass tone. Yeah, okay, I remember. So obviously people will buy them. It just
I
really
had some
comes
that
down
you used
to
to be able to buy them at the show at the end. Remember, you got like a bracelet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you could get a bracelet and it was like
I have a few of
you
those.
plugged it into the computer and yeah, that was pretty awesome. All right, so that's the news. That was a lot of news. We actually kept that going for a while. Let's go ahead and get to the topic of the week.
Podcast Rock City Topic of the Week.
I was sent on a mission 5 years ago.
So Kiss Haven donates stuff to us to give away on this show to you guys. If you look over at the comment section, there's people that are in green, and those people have all joined the membership. It's 99 cents a month, and we give something away every month. This is the new month. We're giving away the Funko Demon cereal along with the signed Del Torborg picture. And go to Kiss Haven. There's Kiss Haven and Kiss Pick Haven. If you want to get picks from the last tour or lots of different tour picks they've got on there, but including all that stuff scrolling by, they got all kinds of old t-shirts, old tour books, all for sale. And we want to thank them for donating this stuff to us. Let's go ahead and give that away real quick. Lee, can you give me a number 1 to 36?
25.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Project MM. You are the winner. Project MM. Send me your address to Podcast Rock City 1. That's the number 1.
Bueller?
Oh, I was
Bueller, anyone?
damn it. I was reading the comment over here about the the Zeppelin movie that Paul Stanley was there that Nick just wrote. What Zeppelin movie? I missed that.
I think there's a Zeppelin movie coming out. Is it out already? I've seen the preview for it. It's a Zeppelin movie coming out just about the band, something that we've never had before. I've seen the trailer. So Project MM.
That's the number 1.
Thank you. Did we already do the topic of the week? I'm behind. Yes, we did the topic of the week. I'm sorry. I'm on meds.
Joe is on heavy pain medication that
yes.
Kathy Bates. Karen has him on.
Joe, did you see that comment? You need to pay attention now.
What does it say?
It says
Please
you're
tell me
screwing him.
Yeah, why isn't his name green, Joe?
Why isn't he green? He's paying good money.
I have no idea, but he was definitely on the list because I saw it.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
That's good.
Yeah. And it wasn't that name. We talked about it already. Anyway, let's I wanted to talk about something that just occurred to me. When the Kiss solo albums came out, everybody was expecting something like in this box, right? What they wanted was Gene Simmons from like Alive 2, that picture of Gene Simmons. And what they wanted was Peter Criss, like hooligan Peter Criss, and that's not what they got. So the question is, we're going to start with Lee. The question is the reason why these two albums aren't as popular as the other two. I know you love them. It's not about that. It's about popularity. If you put a poll up, Gene and Peter usually come after Paul and Ace.
I know.
Okay. So is it because do you think that we expected something different, or is it that we didn't understand that what they were going to do was whatever the hell they wanted to do, and they didn't like promote that very well? What do you think?
Well, definitely Paul's and Aces sound more Kiss. Like Paul's is Kiss. It could have been a Kiss album. And I don't know. I loved all of them. I didn't listen to Peter's that much, honestly, but I loved Gene's. I thought Gene when I was 14, obviously, when it came out. But I thought it sounded like Gene to me. Like I didn't hate it. I love Gene's solo album. So I don't get the hate for it. I really don't.
Sonny, do you think that they should have, like, okay, so today I listened to the Black Box interviews. Have you guys ever heard that before?
What's that?
Okay, so I'll post it on our Facebook page. So basically, what happened was, if you can find these for sale, they're very expensive. I've looked at them before. They run upwards of $3,000.
What?
So
what is this?
I'm going to tell you. It's called the Black Box interviews. So what it is it's a black box that says Kiss across it. It had a tape and a book, I think, in it. And it was sent out to the radio stations. And it's each member of Kiss talking about their solo album. And there are no questions, but they answer the questions. But the book has suggested questions. So the guy at the radio station can go, hey, Gene, so when you put this album out, blah, 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 blah. And then Gene answers the question. Now I will tell you that there is one for sale right now on eBay. It's $3,000.
Are these interviews streamable? They're out on YouTube?
There is a YouTube video that I watched today. I watched some of it. I was doing other things, but I was just curious about it, and I'm going to post it on the on our Facebook page so you guys can watch it. It's the complete interviews, and basically and I think there's one song from each of them as well on there. Do you think that, like, obviously these came out, if the radio stations even did anything with them, because it is possible, right, Sonny, that it showed up and they did nothing with it?
That would have been a shame, because it makes you feel like your radio station got all four guys. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Right? So that'd have been a
That's true.
shame if they didn't do anything with it. That's bad.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll post that on our Facebook page so you guys could all see that. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun to listen to. They talk about their solo albums. They talk about the recordings. They talk about who's on them, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that it wasn't, Joey, do you think that they did not let everybody know, be prepared? Not everything is going to sound like Kiss. This is the guys. Gene's interview, I got through a little more, and basically what he said was, these records are coming out. They are, it is not a sign that we're breaking up. It's a sign that we could do anything we want. That statement right there, we can do anything we want, didn't have to just mean we can put solo albums if we want. It could have meant we can literally do anything we want. Like this album, which looks so like you're about to get Gene Simmons from Alive 2, and really you did not. Or Peter Criss's album. You were hoping that it was going to be this rock album, and it's really not. So do you think that it was Kiss's fault or the label's fault for not getting that out? Be prepared. You may get something that you're not used to hearing.
Yeah, listen, I think the whole thing was very, very daring, right? Obviously, because they probably didn't get any musical direction from the label. It was more of the point where they were the biggest thing in God's creation at this time. And maybe the breakup was inevitable, and they told them to go do these solo albums. However they manifested, it doesn't matter, right? We've heard the stories a million times. Once they went off and started doing their own records, they must have gotten no musical direction from the label at all, because labels kind of want a certain thing usually. But Kiss was so big at that point. I think it was just about, we're going to put out Coin sold this to Casablanca that we're going to put out 4 unique records on the same day. No band has ever done it. And I think that's the selling point. I think, unfortunately, the product itself, meaning what it sounded like, nobody cared about more than what they were doing. And those 4 covers are incredible. Those 4 covers sell those records because it's some of the best artwork ever, right? They're hypnotizing those. I used to stare at those covers for hours listening to those records. But I do agree that I think they needed to have some kind of, hey, expect the unexpected, right? Expect something different from these albums because we got no information like that. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm only 4 years old when those come out, so I don't get into them right away, but I do get into them shortly after I get into Kiss. And because I loved Peters so much, Peters is definitely something I gravitated towards. And I didn't love Peters or Jeans early on because they sounded so different from what I thought they might sound like. And that's my own fault, my own expectations. So I think that, don't get me wrong, years later, I absolutely love Peter's record. And I really like Gene's record as well. Do I like them as much as Paul's and Ace's still? No. I still think Ace's and Paul's are better records. I think Ace's is the best. But I think Ace's and Paul's are just superior records. Do they sound more rock, more like Kiss did during those Love Gun years? Of course they do. So that's why they were a little bit more accepted back then. But I do think the plan was overwhelm the public. Holy cow, look what Kiss is doing. We're releasing 4 records at once. It wasn't even about what was on the records.
Sonny, if you believe the story that the way that it was told, which was basically Peter wanted to go and do a solo album, or it was Ace, I can't remember. But if the story, the way I've heard it was that Bill Coin and them went and said, great, you don't have to leave the band, go do your solo album. And in fact, we'll all do solo albums. So do you really think that was okay. Peter did not want to put out a rock album. It's not his background. It's not what he grew up on. It's not this type of stuff that he liked, really. He's a rock guy, but he was more of a, R&B, Motown, that kind of stuff. So obviously that was, okay, I say obviously, not obviously. That's not what we got, So do you think that, okay, do you think that Peter and Gene did what they wanted and Paul and Ace did what was going to make them money?
All right, so my story on how I got these solo albums are different, so we'll save that till later. Here's kind of my thoughts on real time. We're at beginning of 78. Bands imploding. Yes, I think it's a very unique idea that you put all 4 solo albums at the same time, appease everybody, give everybody a break. My thought process of what's going through each person's head. I think what goes through Paul's head is, I'm just going to do what I do because I write great songs. I think Gene's head is exactly what he said. I can do whatever I want. I am not painted in a box, so I'm going to do whatever I want. I think in Peter's head is, I'm going to kick these guys' ass because these guys think I can't write songs. I'm going to put out an album and going to show them that you don't got to do Kiss type rock and it will still sell. And I think Ace has no clue what the fuck is going on at all. And he's just getting this confidence going. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to write songs, and he was who he was going to be. If you are Casablanca, you cannot tell a 15, 16, 20-year-old that you are going to get 4 different albums from Kiss. As a retailer, you are better off saying nothing. Make them buy all 4. They can find out for themselves. By the time they find out they don't like one of the albums, It don't matter. They already bought all 4. They weren't going to buy all 4 again anyway. So it doesn't matter. You just need them to buy it once. That's a retailer in late 70s when there's no other way to hear this shit.
We
And you
had
got
to
to
buy 'em
really,
all. Yep.
and you got to really get it sold before the radio stations get a hold of it, because you can't
Mhm.
have DJs all over the country saying Peter's album sucks. So you better get out there and promo and get the album sold before it
Yep.
gets stupid. But you
Yep.
can't tell the public, hey, just to let you know, we told them you can do whatever you want. So we think we're going to get 4 completely different albums. Shit, people then pick and choose what they're going to buy. They were doing that anyway because of their favorite character. But for the person that's a Kiss fan, they bought all 4 because they didn't know what they were getting.
Now, Julian Gill's book, basically says the way it sold was okay, so Julian Gill, you guys out there from Kiss FAQ, he's wrote 50 books, but this book is about the solo albums, and basically we had him on years and years ago when the book first came out, and basically what I believe he told us is selling in order 1, 2, 3, and 4 was Gene, Ace, Peter, Paul, just like that. So, most popular, Paul's was the least popular, Peter's was third, Ace's was second, Gene was first. Now, obviously, people wanted Gene at the beginning because they wanted Gene. Gene was the most popular person. Do you think that once they bought that, they went, holy crap? Lee, do you think they went, is all the albums going to sound like this?
Back
so they
then?
went to...
No, I had to have all of them. It didn't matter. I was 14 and I loved Kiss, and as I got my allowance, I would buy 2 of them at a time, and then next week I got the other 2.
All right, what about a tire kicker that goes, oh, I want to buy this Gene Simmons record. They get it and they listen to it and they go, I'm not trying another one. Or they bought, so I'll tell you the way I look at it. You guys can tell me if you agree. They bought Gene's, got discouraged, but still bought Aces. Then they thought, man, this is great. And instead of going to Paul, which we have plenty of Paul with Kiss, they went to Peter because it was something that we didn't have a lot of. And when they heard that, they went, no more. What do you think, Joey?
I mean, I don't know if those numbers are accurate. I would love to hear what the real figures are. They seem a little weird to me. But again, I think we're overthinking all this. I think you see those 4 records on the rack when you're a kid. Chances are a kid can only buy one of them, right? Gene's cover is probably the most iconic because it's Gene. Gene's face is probably the biggest, seller of the 4 of them. So I think Gene's face sells the most. End of story. I think Gene's action figure sells the most. I don't think it's because Gene's action figure sounds the best or walks the best. I think it's just what you want. You want that cover. So you went to the Gene record and you bought it. Not because of the songs, not because of anything. And then if you had money, you went and bought your next copy. I don't think it was, I think, unfortunately, Casablanca didn't realize that Kiss was starting to become more of a kiddie band at that point. But they weren't anticipating that people in general couldn't afford to buy 4 records from the same band on the same day.
No, 2 and 2.
Yeah, and how much were they at the time,
Oh, I don't remember. But
and even 2 and 2 is pushing it for probably a lot of families, right?
Saved up my, did some extra chores.
Here's a comment. I want to see if you guys agree with this. Mr. Make Believe wrote, Paul's is the most complete. Gene's is the most diverse. Peter is the biggest departure, and Ace is the hardest. Thank you for that comment. What do you think, Sonny?
I would say that's probably accurate. Yeah.
Joe, you should bring up the commercial because I don't remember them being like, oh, they're all so different. Like the original commercial.
No way.
It didn't. It
just showed them like the albums. As I recall, I meant to look at it before.
Yeah, it just basically says now here's the thing. It did play a snippet of the songs.
Yeah.
During each one when it showed them, she's radioactive.
Yeah, of course that's the one you played. Because that was the closest to anything that was on the Kiss albums.
Right. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
Joey, out of the four, your favorite is what again?
Aces is by far my favorite. I think Aces is the most complete, and I mean that by song-wise, I mean performance-wise, and the biggest part of what, to me, puts Aces above Paul's is production. Paul's, unfortunately, does have a lot of holes for me, but the production really does not hold up. If you listen to Paul's record and AB it with Ace's record, it sounds thin as can be.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just watch the commercial real quick because when I show other people's stuff, YouTube kind of frowns on it, you know. But give me 1 second. Hold Me, Touch Me with Paul Stanley. Radioactive is shown. You Matter to Me.
New York Groove?
Back in the New York Groove.
Yeah.
But what do they say about the song? Like the album?
It just basically says
four new
four
albums
solo
from Kiss.
from Kiss. Yeah, basically. So, I mean, in the end, I honestly believe that Peter and Gene took the biggest chances. I'm not sure, I'm sure that they thought that they were releasing the best material that they could, because otherwise they're not putting it on the record, I don't think. Do you think that, Joey?
Yeah, I don't think any of them thought like we're thinking. I don't think when you go in to make a record, you're not thinking, I'm going to take a lot of chances. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sound the most like Kiss. I want to appeal to this audience. I want to make the most money. I think these guys are writing material and they think this is what they have for the record. I think Gene at that time definitely was a little more Hollywood driven. He was with Diana Ross and he's with Cher, and he wanted to do more of an industry record where he was, maybe it was going to get more acclaimed. It wasn't just God of Thunder. That's why you don't get God of Thunder on there. You're not getting heavy songs from Gene, because I think Gene was changing. I think Go ahead. I just think Gene's musical taste at that time was changing. I think Peter's record is Peter's musical taste. It's not a jazz record. It's not a swing record at all. When people say that, it drives me crazy. It's a straight ahead rock and roll Motown type record. It's a straight rock and roll record Peter released. Aces is what you get from Ace. Even today, Ace writes what Ace writes. It's regular, straightforward rock songs. If you notice, like those early Ace demos when he leaves Kiss, that might be the biggest departure of what Ace started doing. Ace was into new wave, and you could hear it like the audio video demo and Girl Can't Dance. If you listen to some of that stuff, Ace started to go new wave at that point. So I think it's what they were doing at the time that they wanted to record.
So if you look at the back of Gene's album, it has the most amount of guest people on it. And he wanted Paul McCartney on the record. And I guess that fell through. So he still wound up having Beatlemania on it. But all right, so I've already posted the Black Box interview on Facebook, so if you guys go and listen to that, but you will hear Gene, while he's doing the interview, he's talking about he's name dropping all the famous people that are on this record.
Isn't that Gene, right? That's Gene's MO forever.
Right.
You do an interview with Gene today, he'll still name drop with you. That's how he is. He tried to get Lassie on the record. He said a million times. He tried to get all four Beatles on the record. That was what he wanted. He wanted to prove to himself that he was accepted in this industry that he loves so much from his peers.
That he made it.
Yeah, but not so much the song-wise. The songs were going to be the songs. He didn't say, I wrote this song specifically for Lassie, or I wrote this song specifically for Paul McCartney. The songs were going to be the songs at that time, no matter what. And then he tried to pull in guest stars.
Let me ask you this, and I've thought about this before. Sonny, do you think that when you hear Gene talk about this kind of stuff, do you think that he still maybe doesn't feel all that accepted? Do you think that by now he's like, he doesn't care? Or do you think that it may bother him?
I think it's all about money with him. I think the acceptance is nice, but at some point, your family accepts you, and that's good enough, right? At that point, he doesn't have a family, so he's looking for acceptance of some sort. But once you got kids and you got a wife and they're there all the time, now it's more about legacy and money, right? And my thoughts about getting everybody you can on your 78 record is he's thinking about going into Hollywood. He's going to do these people a solid by having them on the record. And then he's hoping that he can do them a solid later by being in a show somehow. That's why you got actresses, you got all kinds of people coming in and out of this thing. So, and Paul wasn't going to do any of that. So if Gene doesn't do it, nobody does it.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Gene, especially back then, all the way. You got to remember, I think everything up until the reunion was different, especially from Unmasked or Lick It Up through the reunion. I think Kiss is looking for acceptance, especially from critics, from their peers. They're chasing the carrot. They're chasing the trends. Even there's interviews out there where Paul is like, Gene was obsessed with grunge and how he said he wanted to be the next Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. Meanwhile, he's Gene Simmons from Kiss. It's even on, what is it on? The Psycho Circus beginning. You hear the little tidbit that Paul kind of makes fun of Gene for doing that. So I think Gene was always chasing that trend. He wanted to be the next grunge band at that time, and it's ridiculous. But when the reunion hit, then they realized, okay, our legacy is bigger than all this other crap that's come before us, that's come and gone. We're going to embrace our legacy. But up until that point, I still think they're always looking for acceptance, except those early years, right? I don't think 73 through 78 they were. I think 73 through 78 they were on this crazy Kiss roller coaster that was an original thing, and they became the biggest thing in the world. And then when they started to falter, it's when they started to go back to, we need acceptance.
Do you think, Lee, that it's, once they got to the top, instead of going, I know how we got here, we should just keep doing that, it was, how do we stay on top? And then there were people that were outdoing them, so they felt like they had to do that.
Well, I mean, what did we have after that? Like Dynasty, and they just kind of went with what was popular, disco, and then I don't know.
Right. You think that's their biggest mistake? Instead of just coming back out and putting out a new Destroyer type album, they chased the carrot, the trend, like Joey said. Sonny, do you think that we're having a completely different conversation about Kiss if they did that, or do you think that they died sooner because people went, this is the kind of music we like, and Kiss doesn't do it?
Yeah, that happens
later, but that,
Yeah, that happens throughout time, is that, this kind of music kind of falters and then this kind of music kind of comes up. But like, if they were trying to compete with songwriters, I'm sorry, anything they wrote in 80, 81, Foreigner was kicking their ass. Right. So forget about, you're going to be the king songwriters and do what you do, because every year there's a new set of songwriters that come kick your ass. And when you're on top, it's hard to stay on top. And you didn't get to the top with your songwriting. I'm sorry. It was part of it. It wasn't all of it.
But I think that's also the thing,
being
right?
on the bottom.
You've always got to go somewhere, right? I think that's, listen, there's always what's the next hill to climb, right? Kiss did everything they wanted to do up to this point. They're the biggest band in the world. 78, they did it their way. They put makeup on. Think about that, guys. Think of putting makeup and heels and leather and all the stuff they did in 1973. They would have. You think they get? Oh yes, this is incredible. You see this, Sonny? Please.
It looks like me. You want me to take my shirt off? I can show you for real.
God. It's so, oh,
It looks
thank
like
you so
boobs instead of balls.
Minnetonka, thank you so much.
Pony
But
Tonka.
you know, they did everything they wanted to do. So what's the next hill to climb, right? Now they've done it their way, but now they're bigger than anything. They want acceptance now. Now they want acceptance in the higher society of Hollywood. They want acceptance in the critics and all that other stuff. And that's where they start to go wrong, right? They do the solo albums, they do Dynasty, they do, you know, all the stuff starts to go downhill from there. Not for me. I love all that stuff, but I'm saying critically, they abandoned what got them there to try to appease another fan base, which is the Hollywood critics and, you know, all that stuff. I think they chased that carrot for a long time.
And I'm telling you, with Paul and Gene at the helm, even if they somehow save Ace into the 80s, dude, he's not Eddie. He's not Yngwie. He's not George Lynch. He's not Warren DeMartini. Sooner or later, Paul and Gene, he's got to go.
Okay, but all right. So I want to address that.
It's more than all those people did.
But I want to address that, Sonny, because Angus Young isn't any of those people either.
They're not AC/DC. They can't. They wouldn't have been making any money. You're talking about AC/DC money. They weren't making AC/DC money at that time. So if they were still making money, I don't think it would have been an issue. The minute they stop making money, Ace doesn't last.
Well, the difference is you can't change musical genres the way they did. You can't become the band they become with Ace. So the question is, can they succeed with Ace, right? At that time, can they succeed? Does Lick It Up doesn't sound like Lick It Up with Ace. Heaven's on Fire doesn't become Heaven's on Fire with Ace. They're different songs. Kiss doesn't grow musically with Ace. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, Joe, you're right. But I think the problem is because those years in the middle, AC/DC didn't have those years, right? They didn't have those middle years where they tried something new, lost their fan base, and went back to it. Kiss tried something new, lost their fan base, and knew they couldn't just go back to Rock and Roll Over because it wouldn't have worked. So they had to progress. And the natural progression was all of these, you know, European metal bands, all this, the British wave of heavy metal with Priest and Maiden and all this stuff coming out. They went that way. They went to the heavy side of metal where I don't think it works with Ace and Peter.
All right. So in the end, I mean, it's the same conclusion, different topic this time. You know, I don't think if I were to take these albums and here we are 2025 and sit back and go, they just recorded what they wanted to record. They didn't have anybody saying you must record this, you must record that. You know, obviously Peter had help, right? As far as writing goes, so he put out whatever was given to him. Gene, you know, was like, I'm, you know, ego driven. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And then Paul and Ace did what they know, which is rock and roll. And that's what we wound up getting. And if you can sit back and listen to Peter's record and there's not that face on the cover, it's not a bad record. It's just a different record. It's just different. And Gene's is the least favorite for me out of all of them. And I think that's because I just don't like the song choices. I think for me, but everybody's different, you know, and that's what makes these albums so. I mean, think about it, man. Only this band could have done this. Only this band could have done this, you know. And only other band that I could think of that might have been able to put out 4 solo albums at the same time might have been the Beatles.
Yeah.
Gene's album is fun though. It's fun. It's funny.
No, it is. It is. I get that, but I think what people wanted was God of Thunder.
I know,
and they didn't get that. Okay,
but I did too. But I still loved it back then.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So listen, we're about to end the show. Thank you guys for being here. Now, you guys that are on our membership program, we're getting ready to go over to the new show and do a new one. Only you guys can see. If you go in, somebody messaged me today and said they're having a hard time finding the link. If you go to the description of the show, I put the link in there. Click on it, and you'll be there before we are. Sonny, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, there was a couple of questions. One of the questions was, does Ozone make me want to go Vincent Van Gogh? I actually really like Ozone.
Me too.
So to me, the part of Ace's album I don't like is Fractured Mirror. I think it's just a waste of complete waste of time. I always say Asylum is my favorite Kiss album because I don't count the solo albums when I say that. Paul's is a top 5 album for me all time. This is one of the best albums I own. I love that album. Right. So for me, yeah, it's Ace, but I'm coming into it in 1988. So by the time that I'm hearing Gene and Peter, I'm like, what the hell is this? I just got listening to Doc and got done listening to Doc, and now I'm listening to this.
Right.
So
makes sense.
There.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. It's a little different because he has different things to draw from.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, you have anything to add?
No, again, I think all of these records are still what makes Kiss great. I don't want 4 rock and roll overs there. I don't want 4 love guns. I'm glad at the time, you're right. I didn't appreciate them for what they were. But now looking back, the same way I look back at Unmasked and The Elder and everything else, I'm glad that we got those 4 records rather than just 4 records that sounded like Kiss with the other singers singing. I'm glad we have Peter's record and all the weird stuff on Gene's record. Sometimes I'm in the mood for that. If I want to hear God of Thunder, you know what I do? I put on God of Thunder.
Yeah, makes sense. Lee, you have anything to add?
I love the diversity of the albums. I loved them then, and I love them now.
Exactly.
I'll say one more thing, though. I'll leave food for thought. If Casablanca had come up with 10 songs and all 4 guys go into their separate quarters and they have to do their version of those 10 songs only, so you get 4 albums with the same 10 songs, but 4 different takes on them, I think that would have been very interesting.
That would have been interesting. I agree with that.
Wow, yeah.
Thank you for adding that, Sonny, at the very end of the show. We really appreciate it. All right, you guys know what I'm going to say, but before we do that, I want to tell you guys that we love you. We appreciate you being here and hanging out with us every Sunday. Next Sunday is the Super Bowl. We have no idea as of yet what we're doing. Okay, I pitched a halftime show. We may just record something in the middle of the week and run it during the halftime show. I don't know. But the Super Bowl is coming, and 3 out of the 4 of us are big into football. So we'll work it out. We'll work it out for you guys. Besides that, you know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss.
Kiss.
And we love Kiss podcasts.
Especially since we are number 1.
Yeah, we remember that if you're number 2, that just makes you first loser. And we love all the ones. You're going to hear the commercials for all the ones that we love right after this at 3, 2, 1, peace.